What is up, Pokemon fans? It is Blaiktrout here, also known as Blake, and I'm here to give you your PCBL 6 Week 4 battle analysis between me and Darby, or the Mistralton Swannas and the Snowpoint Slashers? Yes. So, the next step is that we're going to talk about the team here. And as you see up here, they all have a nice JoJo-ish theme. Yep, I named them all after certain stands I like. Well, actually, this is named after a person, but, you know, you get the point. I named it Burning Ice, Vanilla Ice, you get the point. That's Regice. I set up Regice with 180 HP, 192 special attack. I basically made it a modest nature set. Well, actually, no, I lied. I made it a calm nature, because it has 500 special defense, and it can take a lot of special hits. Choppleberry is meant for Mienshao. I was really scared at first, because with Mienshao's sake, I didn't know if it was going to have high jump kick or drain punch. I know drain punch doesn't kill me, but high jump kick OHKOs me. So even with this 60 defense boost, it does. So that's why I went for a Choppleberry. Choppleberry made the most sense to have the damage. And I knew he was going to bring me Mienshao. Or maybe not he knew. Well, I mean, the battle already happened, so I'm just going to be saying. I already knew it happened, so that's a spoiler, I guess. Yeah, the battle already happened, of course. You know how these things work, I guess. But here's the reason why I had Choppleberry. I had Choppleberry because, well, it was pretty lit. I used it just so I can take whatever hit he has and be able to throw Thunder Wave. Like, I swear to you, I was like, I need to throw this Thunder Wave. N-O-W, N-O-W, N-O-W. Thunder Wave was the most crucial thing on there. So if I got hit with a physical attack, I just go for Thunder Wave, and then it'd be out of my hands. Because he has no clerics except for Glaceon. So even if he has Glaceon, it's still going to be a pain. I also have Rest, but even so, I know that that Electric Surge ruins it. But the thing is that I can go in asleep and still be asleep. I don't get woken up. So that's the apparent thing. I mean, when it activates when I'm there, I'm wake up. But if I come into it, it doesn't wake up. And I gave it Thunderbolt because grounded Electric Surge can hurt Blastoise pretty much a lot. And Ice Beam for stab that hits hard. So, there you go. Maxmon is Geb the Manaphy. We have a good old-fashioned Agua Berry. The usual setup, with hydration, of course. This one has Heal Bell because I prefer a Cleric somewhere. And I was going to use Crazy Diamond for it, but instead I wanted to use Calm Mind. Because really, you only do Wish Protect, Calm Mind, and Dazzling Gleam or another move you're trying to use. I feel like I would not change Dazzling Gleam for something else unless, you know, I had to, or just Fairy wouldn't work in this situation. So, Heal Bell itself does pretty much a lot for me. Surf, just for damage. Calm Mind, keep my special defense up so I can set up. And Dazzling Gleam, which is meant for Mega Latios. I meant for it to be Dazzling Gleam instead of me being Ice Beam because I don't want to get walled out by Blastoise. Because that's like my worst fear. Because I just thinking, you know, I need something to hit this thing with. So it'd be smart for me just to go in. I mean, to be honest, it's really dumb how I kind of thought I could do Energy Ball. Or no, I could do Dazzling Gleam. Dazzling Gleam was just the best option. Or I could have done the Tail Glow set, but I feel like that wouldn't work either. Because, you know, I want to live hits. Take physical and special defensive hits. So that's the point. And really, I made it set up where HP is 236, his defense is good enough to take pretty good hits from Mienshao, Scarfed, or Life Orb, whatever. I don't see it banded, and even if it was banded, I'd pretty much be kind of still safe. Sort of. So then I guess I'll go to the next one, Pet Shop. Latios with Choice Scarf and Levitate. I made a Scarf Lati and I thought I'd put Trick on it, but instead, move-wise, I gave it Ice Beam just so I can have something else to hit. In case he had Gliscor, I could just OHKO and he would not think for me to have Ice Beam. Energy Balls for Blastoise, and I guess Regirock if it's there. Well, yeah, so that's just in case why I had Energy Ball, and I have Draco to kill the regular Mega Latios. Because the Mega Latios, not Latios, is like the same, right? I went for Draco just because at most it'll do 94%. or I think it was 77 to 92% at most with Draco Meteor. So if I had him under 60%, Draco would have done enough. And Ice Beam still is around 40-45%. So if it's low, I can 2-hit KO it. And then Psyshock just for stab, and it hits Coco well, and everything else. And I have it Scarfed mostly just to outspeed threats like Salazzle and Gengar, just so I can OHKO them quick. Then we have the full Heatran with the weirdest set I've ever had, but I actually have a kill with. I called it with Choice Band. Well, it has good physical attacks. I gave it Explosion, Iron Head, Earthquake, and Crunch. Explosion's just for damage, and it OHKOs pretty much anything that isn't a defensive Pokemon, and that isn't resisted. But I also have Iron Head for stab, and I also have Earthquake to hit Coco and Gengar or Salazzle, depending on who's in. Pretty much any mon that's weak to earth ground can be hit by this. And Crunch to hit Mega Latios. I don't know why I can't say Latios, I keep saying Latios for some dumb reason. And, you know, HP, and I wanted to be fast enough just to outspeed Blastoise by a little bit to do damage. And defense boost and take, and it's adamant. 240 HP to just take hits real well. Then my last one, it's debut for PCBL 6, the Hand, also known as Drapion. And if you're wondering what the Hand came from, that's Okuyasu's stand. The Fool is Iggy's stand from Part 3. Crazy Diamond is Josuke's stand from Part 4. Pet Shop is a stand from Part 3. And Gev is Part 3. And Burning Ice is a guy with a really crazy stand in Part 3. So back to the Hand. Drapion's pretty wild. It has Darkium Z, so Z knockoff can pretty much do, I think, unboosted around half. So if it's around under the 50 or 40%, because knockoff is around, like, I think 36%. So whatever he's going to switch into will get hit with a hard knockoff and lose its item. Then he has Swords Dance just to boost, and I thought of using Poison Jab, but I'm like, I don't need to do that. I have Earthquake. And Earthquake does just enough, because at most I know just like a Poison Jab isn't going to do crap. So I thought, let me just replace it with Swords Dance. And Toxic was to get rid of the bulky threats. Blastoise, Regirock, also meant to get rid of Latios. He has almost no clerics except for Glaceon, and he won't bring that. I felt like he wouldn't, just for any reason. And its defense is set up so it could take basically any hit that Gengar could by 3-hit KO. And it could also has the attack enough to just have Swords Dance be effective. And max HP to take hits. It was more careful than it was adamant. If it was adamant, it would have done more, but it wouldn't have taken as many hits. So I was more defensive than physically defensive. And then I think I skipped Crazy Diamond. Yes, I did. Crazy Diamond's the Calm Mind, Wish, Protect, and Dazzling Gleam set. I basically made its defenses look like this because I wanted this thing to have 300 out for special defense, so I can just power up. And defense is enough so it can actually take Mianshao's hits pretty well and easily. I was really scared of setting up against Gengar or going into that because I just did not want to get OHKO'd. So Dazzling Gleam was just to be a stab move, and it basically +1 OHKO's Mianshao, and +2 can do at least, well, +2 basically OHKO's Mianshao, and it does about 68 or so percent to Tapu Koko. So pretty much, if I can get rid of Gengar, I can set up freely without any issues. So, you know, it's pretty cool. Then I have Wish, Protect, the usual setup that really helps. And I have it set up in HP just so it can take hits. It's just really good, and I just love it. So let's get ourselves to the battle here. It'll be real quick and in just a second. Alrighties. Alrighty. Yep. We are now into the battle. It's between me and Darby, of course. You know. And you see that Darby brought in his good old... Actually, just the play. Reset. Actually, wait. Let me hit the play. Pause. Switch sides. So right off the bat, he goes right into... Reset, please. Pause. Alright. So he went into Crazy Diamond. I'm all, alright, cool. Wait, that makes no sense. Back that up. I went into Crazy Diamond. And he had Xian the Mianshao. So odds here, I'm thinking it's some kind of setup. So this gives me the perfect opportunity to go for Wish, if in case he wants to hit me with anything. If he's not banded, then I'm not in too much trouble. But I'll know if he is or not. At this point, if he's some kind of scarfed or some kind of sash or life orb, I'm basically safe. But he was some kind of sash or scarf at this point. So back into the battle, he switches out and I just go right into Crazy Diamond. He U-turns. Okay, so he is some kind of scarf. He goes into Blastoise. I set up for my Wish and I switch out into the hand because he goes for Ice Punch. I now was like, alright, I'm going to go for my Toxic. Boom. Alright, plan worked. He Dragon Tails me for only 14% going into the Fool. I was like, well, I'm switching back out into Crazy Diamond because now it's basically the physical set that I really didn't expect for him to bring. He just brought it. He had the Malachi and then he goes into this and I'll switch back right into the Fool. He Sludge Bombs me for no damage. So he goes for Shadow Ball and it does around 34%. I go for the Crunch and crits. I crit sash him, so he's sashed. And right here I'm like, okay, that's great. I thought he'd be like Specs or something. That's why I was expecting him to switch out into this. I'm thinking I'm going to live and knock him out with a Crunch. Doesn't matter. It puts him in a pretty crazy position. He probably would have fared better with this set anyways. I go into Drapion and he has Destiny Bond. I know your trick. You're going to switch into something else. He goes into Regirock and I switch right into Burning Ice. Bad switch-in choice. I go for Manaphy. He crits me with a Stone Edge. It's all chill, because now I'm going to go for Surf to do some type of damage, about 11%. At this point, I switch back out into the hand, and he goes in and hits me with a Thunder Wave. It had Thunder Wave, so that threw me off entirely. So I'm thinking, move-wise, now that it has another status move, he must have done it in order to paralyze my speed. Mostly my fast mons like Latios or Geb, so I couldn't do anything. So he switches out and goes into his Regirock, and I get hit with Para. And I'm like, I'm going to stay in and try to hit him with a Toxic at least. And the Toxic hits, because it doesn't miss with a Poison type. So in this situation, I'm basically now back in the game. I go into Crazy Diamond, and I know I can easily eat up his hits, because now I'm assuming he's not Assault Vest, but something like Leftovers, but he wasn't. So I just assumed really hard just going for Protect as he goes for Iron Head, because Iron Head doesn't do anything. He's basically stuck here. And I just played it really safe. I go into Wish. They give me the opportunity to go into the hand as he goes for Thunder Wave, knowing that now I'm already paralyzed. And I'm going to go for Knockoff because now he switches out. Nobody wishes, but I get parried anyways. It doesn't matter. So then he switches back into Regirock. I knock off and get rid of his Assault Vest, so now he's not a threat anymore. But, you know, toxic crap. So I'm switching out again back into Crazy Diamond. He Earthquakes me. I live. Goes whatever he wants. I go for the Wish again. He Iron Heads me. Not enough. So I'm going to live anyways and just go for Protect, I guess, because he had Malachi. At this situation, I could have just went for Dazzling Gleam, but I just was too afraid to. Because I knew he was going to switch out at some point. So he switches out, and I switch back. He Destiny Bonds, and I'm like, I'm going to go for Heal Bell, Opportunity, and I'm eating up the Sludge Bomb and Agua Berry. Calc that myself. So I'm like, alright, I'm in a really good position. And the scary part was I didn't have a lot of mods all healed up, and he read me real well into the Shadow Ball. I'm mad because I'm thinking I probably should have switched out into Regice at this point. But I didn't. I thought he was going to go for, like, Sludge Bomb, and I can eat it for, like, 30-something%. But no, he hit me with the Shadow Ball, and I did about 82.4%. I'm like, oh, that messed me up pretty bad. Now I go for the Ice Beam, and he Curse Body me. So he knows I have the move. He goes right into Tapu Koko, and I'm thinking he's either Scarfed or something, or Specs. He Volt Switches me, so he's not Specs, he's definitely Scarfed. That's why he was confident in going in. So at this point, I'm thinking I just need to live the high jump kick, right? I thought he'd be Drain Punch, and I was scared that I was going to get O-Code right here. I'm like, no, I need to live. I need to live. Luckily, I live at 6%, and I was able to pull off the Thunder Wave, and that means the game is now back into my hands, and I went into Crazy Diamond knowing I'd live, and he hits me with another high jump kick for 40%. And he switches out back into Regirock, and I'm going to go for the Wish. And at this point, I'm just going to go for Protect, so I can live. He Stone Edges me again. I was afraid about how much it was going to do, but it probably wasn't going to do that much. I go for Calm Mind, because I know I'm going to live, and he hits me with the Iron Head. And crits me. So at this point, I have a chance to double Oko, so I'm going to go for Protect, seeing what move he's going to go for, but he's parried. So odds were, and he's parried again, and I go for the Wish. So double para hacks give him my favor. He goes for Poison Jab, and it's nothing, so I knew he had the move he had. I probably should have kept going for Calm Mind, but I think I did still. Yep, I did. So at this point, if I got poisoned, it'd be a much more difficult game just to do anything. And I didn't get poisoned yet. I protected myself. At this point, I basically one shot, and I don't know why I didn't do that. I wanted to have max HP. I played it real safe, but then I got poisoned right here. And then went for... Yep, okay, I played it smart there. Alright, cool. So now the game looking like it's really mine. And he has Blastoise up, so he goes for Waterfall hoping to flinch me. I wish. So now it's just more difficult to keep healing up. And he goes into Tapu Koko right here. So I go for Protect and it fails, and I go for whatever. I probably should have went for Wish again right here, and I think I did. Yeah, he discharged me. I'm like, okay, 70%, I'm living that. And then I'm thinking, I'm going to protect myself. But I do. He goes for Discharge again. Doesn't do enough. So now I'm just trying to waste time on Electric Terrain, so I'm thinking I gotta go for an attack. I'll live the next hit as long as I don't get critted. But what happens next turn basically kind of turns the game on its head for me. He crits me, and I'm like, oh my god. So at this point, I'm like, I'm gonna go into Drapion and go for knockoff. But he goes into Blastoise knowing that I can live it, and he goes, and the knockoff works. At this point, I'm like, okay, I'm still technically in this, but I have no healer, and most of my team is pretty badly damaged. They all can get pretty much popped real hard by something. I don't know, but it's probably happening. I go for Crunch. Alright. After getting Aqua Jetted. And getting Aqua Jetted sucked because I didn't expect for him to have that. Or it's like it's the same physical set as he had last time. And I thought, oh, am I going to get Oko? Nope, I'm living. I'm max HP, so there's no way I'm going to be dying to something that's not really well prone or well to being specially attacking wise. So I already knew I had sped, so having Aqua Jet was more of the whole, can I live this? And I thought I really didn't know he had that. Thought he had something else like Fighting Technique or something. At this point I'm like, well, I could switch out, but not everything I switch out to gets popped, so I'm gonna stay in. And at this point I'm thinking he's probably Scarfed. Because if he's, and in this situation, if he's not Scarfed or in Specs, well, he's not. He's something else. If he's not Scarfed, he'll stay in. Or if he is Scarfed, he'll stay in. If he's not, I know I'm going to live and drop this. So at the switch point, I'm thinking I'm going to go for Ice Beam because that's my smartest play. Ice Beam still kills this thing. I calced it too. So he switches out into Mega Latios, and I go for Ice Beam, and it doesn't do enough, so I'm thinking, okay, I'm just going to do enough to kill. Or just to freeze or something. Anything to bring it low. And then, boom, he Side Shocks me. So I'm like, well, this is okay. And goodbye. At this point, it's like I was able to drain this to the point where he doesn't reset, and I wouldn't be like, oh, it's over. So like the next couple of turns here are kind of critical because I'm thinking, oh, this is bad. This is really bad. I'm praying, thinking that if I can just live the Discharge, which is probably the move he has instead of Volt Switch, he discharged me, I'm gone. I'm like, well, no contest. I didn't think about Calm Minding at that point. I'm like, I'm just going to kill the thing off because then I'm not going to kill this. And then he's going to go into Snoo for death. I'm thinking I'm going to kill this thing off. Even if he goes for Calm Mind, I'm killing it. Regardless. And then... Okay, sorry, back to this. I was thinking, well, I was up 6-3, and now I lost my lead almost entirely in a quick third. And I think 20-something... No, in like 14 turns, it just all turned yellow. Because the one thing I had to live, I was going to try to sweep. I mean, if I got rid of Snoo, it would have been my game. But I didn't. It had to get critted, and it just was mostly kill this thing, kill this thing, kill this thing. So I go into Drapion, and in the last second, it's basically, okay, how much is Discharge gonna do? At first I was calculating, I'm afraid of getting critted, and I'm like, wait, it shouldn't matter. I'm not critting. I'm not gonna get critted. And then apparently at this point I'm going to get discharged, but I live the crap out of it. I go for Earthquake. There you go. And I win. And I critted him. He critted me multiple times, and I critted him, I think, one time before, and I critted him the second time here. I critted him with a Crunch. After that, I basically just critted the last part. And here's how this would have been. I'm not saying how pointless, but how honest this is. That with Drapion, Discharge at the most would have done 34% at a high roll. So I would have lived if I didn't knock this thing out, because technically I do 59.3 to 68.5%. Or I think the other way around, 59.5 to 68.3%. So it was a 2-hit no matter what. The crit was just added bonus, because the crit basically made it 87.5 on a low roll. So I knocked that thing out. I would be more scared if it was Electric Terrain, because then he would have won at that point, but the crit then would have helped. So if the crit didn't happen and it was Electric Terrain, I would have taken the L. But since it wasn't, and stalling it out a bit was actually pretty smart, which I didn't plan. It's great. So congrats, the hand basically survived and gave me this win, which is actually great for its PCBL debut. We got 2 kills. Heat Train got its 7th. Yeah, Manaphy got its 4th. Latios got its 2nd, and so did Crazy Diamond Rod and Omega. So this is great. Good game to Darby. This is great. 4-0. First time ever I'm 4-0 in PCBL. Okay, so for the first 4 I'm actually done. So what I'm going to do next is basically set up the week 4 analysis, then set up the first 4 analysis for each team that happened so far, and that's going to be like a 37-minute video on top of that too. But it won't take too long to make that anyways. I don't think so. As long as I make the talks like a minute or 2 at the longest. It's probably going to be 2 hours long maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, whole video-wise, I'll always timestamp everything. And I think for everything else that's going on with this, next week I got an AP. So I'm going to have to think about playing how to crush him and be 5-0. But being 4-0 and I just wanted really bad and I got it. It's just a great feeling still being a divisional leader. Alright, so I'll see you guys next week, maybe for week 5. I think the only battle I can try my hardest to make live is going to be me and Troy, because I just feel like this is way too convenient for me to do without having to do it live. Like, I feel like if I do, would I do playoffs live? Maybe. I don't know, not for every battle. Well, actually, it'll be where it's time where I have time to do that, so it'll be fair. It'll be easier to work with that then. So, hooray. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.